Yes, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. Good, free hands with Allstate.
One thing we know is true for life, whether it's busy or calling cancer is a priority.
Indeed. Everywhere 45% risk should be polio. These folks are getting it done at home with me. Polio is a wonderful thing. Polio cancer is anything not invasive. It's for people 45 plus at average risk, not high risk. False positive and negative results may occur. Ask your provider for Cologuard.
I did it my way.
Check out my home scrambling into T-Mobile to get the new iPhone 16 Pro. Good for having a challenge. Cause only I like to pay anyone. Now T-Mobile.com get the new iPhone 16 Pro on us. And families can save 20% every month versus other big companies.
Greetings from Budapest. Arigato. Or whatever language they speak in Budapest. This will be an hour stream on the button slick. We got the LA Kings playing the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim at 5 p.m. and the Pittsburgh Steelers playing the New York Jets. Just doing a little Sunday Earlverse. Sign seems a little bright. Let's whoa. There we go. A little better. A little better there. Charlie Monroe, are you new to the Earlverse? We seem to be getting some new people in the stream. Oh, okay. The hell is behind me? Welcome, welcome anyway. I'm still recovering from the show last night at the Comedy Store. It was a real 5-star banger. Queen, I'm not fucking around. $5. Besides institutional racism, why is Dave Parker not in the Hall of Fame? I mean, I'm very passionate about Dave Parker. Sorry, my hat's off center there. Not being in the Hall of Fame. He hits every check mark. Although I will say his prime, which I would say is probably 78 to 82, he's the best player in the game. There's no one who could do what he did. I mean, literally the definition of a 5-tool player. Could run for a guy his size, could hit for average, along with his Cincinnati Reds teammate. I think they were teammates for a bit. George Foster, probably the best home run hitter in the game. Good fielder for his size. And we don't even have to talk about his arm. And really, he wasn't that bad in Cincinnati. He was a top 10 player in Cincinnati. And he was actually pretty good in Oakland. And even in his very brief stint for the Angels, he was good. Not bad in Milwaukee either. I mean, I've heard through various back channel sources that the problem was the cocaine trial of the late 70s. I mean, he was basically one of the ringleaders of the cocaine use in the Pirates locker room. But, you know, if you're going to fucking get rid of... What up, Dominic? If you're going to get rid of or not put someone in the Hall of Fame because of cocaine use, you're going to have to get rid of half the Hall of Fame. I mean, let's look at some of the people who are in the Hall of Fame now. You got Gaylord Perry. Excuse me. Who threw spitballs in every game. You got Ferguson Jenkins, who doctored baseballs and a lot of his wins. Thank you, ACDC. You've got Don Sutton, who doctored baseballs. And who knows, if you really want to get into people who doctored bats, from George Brett, Sosa, putting cork in your bat basically made your bat a fucking stick of dynamite. Excuse me. Good for you, Felix. Ty Cobb is an open racist. Well, I mean, from the technical sense, at the time, it wasn't illegal. Just like steroids weren't illegal. So I say at the time, McGuire, Canseco, Palmero, or was it Biggio? At the time they were doing it, steroids were not illegal in baseball. So put them in. I mean, I know in hockey, a way people, it's technically, it wasn't cheating because it's not illegal. Players would dose up on fucking Sudafed. So I don't think what Dave Parker did was that wrong. I mean, Doc Ellis pitched a perfect game on acid. Do you take away that game because he was on acid, but technically he wasn't doing anything illegal? So, it's a real slippery slope when you start going, all right, Dave Parker's not in because of the cocaine stuff, but this person's in, and they did cocaine as well. I mean, I don't really watch baseball a lot. My neighbors were just like, hey, you want to come over and watch the Dodgers-Mets game? I'm like, I'm going to watch the Kings and Ducks and the Steelers and Jets. But I would say baseball's biggest heel, like playing right now, is probably Bryce Harper. He seems to be kind of a dick. Great player. Minshew running for his life. Yeah, and that's why he got intercepted. So I'm trying to think who else. I mean, I know Zach Greinke was a bit of a heel because he's almost like autistic. Trying to I know that one guy on the Angels, was it Anthony Rendon? He was like, hey, I'm only playing baseball because of the money. I got a family to support. I mean, at least he was being honest. So, like in hockey, there's some heels. Like Kid Cousins, I think he's on Ottawa now. He's kind of a dirty hitter. Tom Wilson's a dirty hitter. Corey Perry, Pat Maroon. Basketball. I don't really watch basketball, to be honest with you, so I don't know. But yeah, and when you see the pictures of Dave Parker now, fuck, man, put him in the hall before he goes. We like the money, honey. So I think Parker also probably burned some bridges with the vets. That's how he's going to get in now, is the veteran committee. And he doesn't seem to have a lot of support there. So, I don't know. I mean, it bums me out because he really was, I think, the best player in the game. And, for 4 years, I mean, there's no one even came close to him in terms of the full package. But it's 2024. I mean, he's been retired for 20 plus years now. It's not looking good. I mean, it's just really amazing what he did on 2 bad knees. That 30. It wasn't a 30 for 30. It was basically the 30 for 30, but on the MLB network. It was like their version of 30 for 30. He had bad knees since high school. So it's really unbelievable how good he was on, knee surgeries were pretty brutal back in his era. I mean, my knee surgery was amazing. I was at around 2004. So, but I can't imagine 74. I mean, they literally cut your leg open and did what they did. So, it's kind of like Bobby Orr. How good would Bobby Orr have been with good knees? I mean, it's something you'll never know. Of course, my favorite player, hockey player, was Barry Beck. He was chronically injured since junior hockey, shoulder injuries and knee injuries. If he played in today's era, those surgeries are a breeze. So I don't think the athletes today realize how lucky they are with the medical advancements they have. Well, it's funny you say that, Queen Anne. I mean, Cam Neely was never really quite the same after Earl Samuelson did the, I think it was the hip to knee hit. I mean, if Cam Neely, he's a Hall of Famer for sure. Seabass, man, come on. Wagers, Seabass said these were on his tab. But just really a shame that he got hurt. How good he was. Same thing with Barry Beck. I mean, this is probably why I only have 12 people on the stream, but after the Pat Flatley hit in the 84 playoffs, Beck was just never the same. And Barry Beck is a mountain of a man. I mean, he's probably in his, he's probably in his early 60s. And he teaches hockey in China. And he's still fucking jacked. Like, for a 60-year-old, like, he is jacked. So it's just kind of like, oh, man, what if he was healthy? Deion Sanders, great heel. Jack Lambert of the Steelers. I wish I could point the camera. Oh, wow, yeah, you could barely. It's right there. Great picture of Jack Lambert with no teeth. Barry Beck was awesome. I mean, just the fact that the Rangers traded 5 players for him in an era where you didn't really see trades like that. But he had shoulder problems and knee problems since he played in the new Westminster Bruins. So it's just, man, can you imagine if he was healthy? We're talking, he could shoot. He could pass. Arguably the best body checker in the league outside of Dennis Potvin. Could fight when he had to. I can't find a single fight he lost. Now, he didn't fight a lot, but at worst, there was maybe a draw or two on YouTube. Like this fight with Ben Wilson's a pretty close fight. But you could tell as soon as Beck landed, I think, a left and hit Wilson hard, Wilson stopped, and Wilson was a tough boy. Just injuries suck, man. I'm trying to think. Well, Gabriel Velarde, he's on the Winnipeg Jets. I think the Kings drafted him pretty early in the first round, and the guy just, had chronic back issues that literally took him 5 years to get right. So it's just injuries are insane. I'm trying to think, that's why it'll be interesting to see if Ohtani ever pitches again, because he's got, I think, a chronic shoulder injury now. And, I'm sure that'll take a few miles per hour off the fastball. And, Bagwell, I kind of checked out of baseball, but, Bagwell was a heel. I'm trying to think. Who in the Dave Parker era was a heel? I mean, Joaquin Andujar, he just throw at your fucking head, man. J.R. Richard, uh, John Franco was kind of a heel, the reliever for the Reds. I mean, obviously Randy Johnson, uh, Will Clark, he was kind of a dick. Jack Clark was one of my favorite players. The Giants, number 22. Bob Gibson, obviously, if you want to go back. Um, so, well, I think he bet on them to win. So a lot of people are like, well, Pete Rose should be in the Hall because he didn't bet on his teams to lose. But here's the problem with that. Like when he was managing the Reds, I think their best pitcher was Tom Browning. Great lefty. Kind of a pudgy left-hander, like almost like a junior version of David Wells. And not quite as fat, probably not quite as good, but he was good. So what happens if Pete Rose bets on the Reds to win and Tom Browning's pitching and he doesn't want to take Tom Browning out, so he leaves him in probably an extra inning or two, and the Reds win the game. So you think no harm, no foul. But then the next game, Browning pitches, he's got dead arm, and he gets lit up. That's on Rose. So, that's a very interesting, I think, dilemma in terms of should Rose be in the Hall of Fame. But if you think Pete Rose is the only guy in the Hall of Fame who didn't bet on baseball, or he's not in the Hall of Fame, but there's so many guys in the Hall of Fame who are scumbags, probably hit their wives, racist, probably bet on baseball. I mean, he's clearly the greatest hitter of all time. There's nobody even comes close to Pete Rose, not even Ted Williams. So, well, AC/DC, I don't know. I mean, there's probably a lot of off the book bets too. I mean, I had a friend of mine, the great Joey Odessa. I wish I knew his Twitter handle. Look up Joey Odessa on Twitter. It'll probably come up. Tell him I sent you. Joey had started the first offshore betting book. And he told me that Jaromir Jagr would literally make bets in warm-ups. So, but it was kind of off the books, his name was never on a betting slip. Who knows what Pete Rose was doing back then? I mean, I'm sure he was dealing literally with people like Joe Pesci and Goodfellas, Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of ways to avoid having the player's name on the actual betting slip. So I think all players should be in the Hall of Fame if they meet the criteria. I mean, Roger Clemens, was he on steroids or whatever? Probably, but they weren't illegal at the time. And you don't think there's players in the league on steroids now? Which sports star? Good questions today, Queen on. Which sports stars were most connected with the mob? That I don't know. I mean, I would guess players who played in mob cities, New York, Chicago. I mean, I would guess probably some Yankees, maybe even Steeler players. Mob was in the steel business, so I'm sure they were around Pittsburgh. Dino Bravo, yes, the great Dino Bravo. That murder is still unsolved. But he knew them because he let them in. Yeah, you don't want to fuck around with the mob. I mean, I had an uncle. He wasn't a technical uncle, but he was just a good friend of my dad's. Johnny Lang, Uncle Johnny, we just called him. And he would just randomly show up every Christmas with these really nice gifts, like stuffed animals that probably cost $1,000. And looking back, he was definitely in the mob because one day he just disappeared. He was just gone. And I mean, you just you fuck with the wrong people, you're gonna get fucked with back. We had this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but there was an incident recently in the LA comedy scene where a documentary was made about this place that hosts an open mic. And they interview comics for, I don't know, 2 minutes, 3 tops. But there was one comic in particular who they really showcased for 16 minutes. And they totally made this guy look like an ass. Shalom, shalom, shalom. And a couple weeks ago, he just hauled off and hit the girl who made the documentary. And it's like, you fuck with mentally deranged people, you're gonna pay the consequences down the pike. We got some Jews in the stream, boy. So in terms of the mob, you rip off the mob, they ain't gonna forget. But like we were talking about with yes, he did William Zoom. That's the incident. But like we were talking about the other night in the stream, about OJ and Nicole, and someone in the stream had said, well, I think the mob killed her. It's like, if you owe the mob money, they're not going to kill you, because as soon as they kill you, they're not going to get their money. So the Jewish mob for Earl, that's the banking system. Hello. So, but they will maybe kill someone close to you. They'll chop off your dog's head or something and go, okay, a human's next. Pay up. I mean, I have a friend of mine who does, let's just say, collections. And you don't want to fuck with this guy, man. And he's like a really nice guy, but when he puts on his vest and his gun, you better have his money, honey. I'm here and I hit the like button. Well, thank you very much, Dylan. Was that picture real of Trump working at McDonald's? I thought that was fake. But I had a long night last night, so I wasn't sure if it was a joke. I didn't know if it was a gag. Hold on. I'm going to switch to the NFL Network. Hold on. Whoa. The gig last night was awesome. Standard gig at the Comedy Store. Show was an hour behind. The crowd's tired. But I went up there and I woke them up, bitch. Yeah. And, I've gotten quite proficient at waking the crowd up. Oh, that really was a video. Oh, okay. I thought it was fake. So I mean, about 2 weeks left. So we'll see. This is gonna be a fun 2 weeks in the news cycle. But the set was, I did about 45 minutes. It was great, and yeah. I mean, Lois definitely has a smoker's cough, but it's just a partially collapsed trachea. It could be worse. It can't really be better at this point, but she just went for a long walk. Well, I mean, who knows? I mean, I personally believe she's slightly ahead, but Fox News just had a poll that Trump is up 49-48. So like, that's within the margin of error. So who knows? I mean, I will say her crowds look a lot bigger than Trump's. Not that that means anything, but, and I have so many friends doing Kamala get out the vote parties. I haven't seen one Trump get out the vote party. That's not a good sign. I mean, AC/DC, who knows? I mean, it's tight. You know, I mean, it's really. I am in LA, 100%. But you'd think, though, that I would see one, hey, Trump, get stump for Trump or whatever. Well, I don't know anything about Alabama. Alabama's not my life anymore. But I think, I mean, it's dead even from what I understand. And I've asked my political contacts. I got some political contacts. You don't think my cousin's RFK Jr.? I make a few calls. They've all said on both sides, hey, we don't know. It's tight. It's all going to boil down to that last week, and whoever comes up with the bad story about the other candidate, you know, Diddy did maybe. What up, Ryan? We're doing a quick stream because we got the King. Fuck the Dodgers and Mets. I'm watching the Kings and the Ducks, and then 25 minutes later, the Steelers and the Jets. I believe Russell Wilson is starting tonight. I don't understand that. I mean, Fields played a great game yesterday. Way to kill the guy's fucking confidence. So, I'm just not a baseball guy. I mean, I'm an Angel fan. I'm just a beat up, broken down Angels fan. I mean, Lizzo is a big celebrity. Hello. I mean, it's a pretty good game. I mean, that I don't know if Rogers is quick enough to deal. I think if Highsmith is playing, it's tough. You can't guard both him and Watt. Do you know what kind of dog you like to have after Lois? I mean, you know, I think about it. I'm probably going to take a while off when that happens. I'll just be too sad. Now, if I ever moved into a small home, I would get another shepherd again because I really enjoyed my brief time with Annie, the great German shepherd. So, you know, and there is a breed I've always wanted. If you look up this breed, it's a very rare breed. You know, I would love to have a dog that nobody else has. It's a Clumber Spaniel. And they're not small dogs. They're not big dogs. They're probably in that 50 to 75 pound, 50 to 60 pound range. And they're just really unique looking. They look like miniature polar bears. But I've never seen one in person. I mean, you know, it's going to be tight. I mean, literally every vote will count. So no matter who you're voting for, I mean, I'm not voting for either. So, you know, I don't, you know, we don't have to, I don't have to bore you with that shit, but whoever you are voting for, Great Danes are too big, man. My neighbor is a Great Dane, and Lois loves it, but this dog is fucking almost a full-sized horse. The dog is giant. And the shits. Here's the crazy thing. When I first moved into this building, there was some rich gay guy across the street. Lived in an apartment, had 3 Great Danes, and this guy was fucking nuts, though. Jordan something, 3 Great Danes in an apartment. So yeah, I mean, Dino Bravo did something wrong. I think he was maybe siphoning off a few extra cartons of cigs, and you know, the Montreal mob is no joke. And you know, he probably knew them. I mean, there was no break-in. He was clearly they were let in. So, you know, it's you know, in Montreal, you like I had friends of mine who played in the on the Quebec Senior League. It was at one point called the Quebec Senior Pro Hockey League, and then it was the League North American Hockey. And the Laval Chiefs at one point were rumored to have been partially run or owned by the Hells Angels. So you don't fuck around up in Montreal. And for Dino Bravo, you know, he probably just was like at the tail end of his career, you know, and, you know, he was kind of tough to understand on the mic. So it's not like he could extend his career like Ric Flair because he's good on the mic. And, you know, he probably started looking ways to supplement his income. Yeah, I mean, I just don't like either candidate. Great Danes don't live long lives, so they don't because they have severe hip problems, hip dysplasia. Even in the healthiest, you could breed the two healthiest Great Danes on the planet, and they're just such big dogs that the back end really just gives out after a couple years. Because they have long legs. For such big dogs, they have very long legs. Like St. Bernards and Shepherds, most of them don't have like super long legs. So, you know, but Great Danes in general have very long legs. And so they compensate probably with the hip area. And then that's where the problems start. Yes, that is the crazy league. It's not crazy anymore. I think, you know, they've really put in a lot of rules, even up there. I mean, it's where my friend Roger Maxwell, you know, he had a cup of coffee with the Boston Bruins, but, you know, he was just not probably good enough skill-wise to play in the NHL. So he was a minor league legend, and he went to Quebec. I got him his first job because people knew I knew him. I got him a job, one of those teams up there, and you know, they pay you in cash under the table. Like, hey, if you get in 3 fights tonight, there's an extra 500 for you. I mean, I listen. Anything's possible with the LA legal system. Yeah, but I think Shepherds, their legs are a little shorter, so there's not as much stress or uh, overall overworking of that hip area. I mean, most Shepherds, even Annie, was kind of low to the ground. They kind of, when they walk, they kind of get into a fighting stance. I mean, they're ready. Well, I think English Bulldogs live short lives because of their breathing system. You know, their noses are basically smashed in their face. Same thing with French Bulldogs, Boston Terriers, but so you can't really exercise English Bulldogs. Like I could not take an English Bulldog on the walks I take Lois on. I just couldn't. So well, he's probably just glad to be alive, Grant. You tell him that, Fajita. Ian's one of my mates. We're comedy soldiers. And very funny. The best in the business at crowd work. Him and Rick Ingram. You won't find two better comics at crowd work. I had to follow Rick Ingram last night. Not directly. He was on like 2 or 3 ahead of me. But, you know, that's another thing that, you know, when I go on last at the store, and if Rick or Ian have gone on, in some cases both are on the show, you can't do crowd work, man, because they've heard it already. So like, hit me with jokes, monkey man. So, you know, in terms of the dog question, If I move and get a small yard, I would get a bigger dog. If I moved into another condo, I don't know. I mean, I was just talking with someone today about Lois. I mean, if she keeps up at her current pace, I'd probably say she has at least 2 years left. Because she does the full exercise. She eats. She just finished a whole fucking bowl of food. So that's a good sign. So, did Mama and Michelle eat all the ribs? Is this Jesse Lee Peterson? Yeah, me and Rick are. There's no one who comes close to the Tommy impressions. Mastiff Pit Bull mix who only lived to be 7. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Dylan. Yeah, I mean, dogs are, especially big dogs, especially mixed breeds, like a Mastiff Pit mix. I mean, who knows what the parents were. I mean, when Annie passed away, speaking of baseball, I was watching the World Series. I think Chandler was asleep upstairs, and I'm sitting in my chair right there. Annie was asleep on the couch over there. She got up and kissed my hand, looked fine, went right over there, fell asleep on the stairs, never woke up. That happened at 10:30 on a Friday night. Thank God for the LaBelle Foundation. If you ever need something in the dog rescue world, look up the LaBelle Foundation on Instagram. It's one woman, Laura LaBelle, and her 2 daughters, and they are boss bitches. So, I thought you were going to say mud sharks. We don't do Dabbleverse talking here. Lois kind of, she's outlived 4 dogs and, I don't know, 4 or 5 girlfriends. She's a soldier. And me and Gail take very, very good care of her. So I'm hoping she lives, another 2 or so years. I don't want to keep her around like my mom did her Yorkie, who was like 21. But in full disclosure, this Yorkie probably should have been put down about 17. But my mom, the dog was treated very well. Trust me on that one. But, health-wise, it's probably at least 18, 19 years old, should have been put down. Yeah, golden retrievers are great. I really want a Clumber Spaniel. They're just big, lumbering, slow dogs, big enough to scare someone, if they try to break in. I don't know what their bark is like, but check out Clumber Spaniels. They're not even many groomers, or not groomers, breeders that do them. But we'll see. I mean, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I mean, my condo now, I am capable of having a bigger dog, but the thing with Annie was she was low energy. Like, she could still hike. We took her on a hike to Fryman Canyon, which is a hiking trail on the other side of the valley, and she did it no problem. She wasn't even breathing hard, and she was dying of cancer. But she wasn't the most energetic dog. She was dying basically. So I don't know if this condo is meant for a baby or a dog in its prime energy level. It probably wouldn't be the best fit. And I might look back into getting Annie, I believe, was a retired military dog, or maybe worked for the DEA. I mean, she was definitely a dog that had some training to her. I mean, she was very protective whenever we would walk her. If she saw someone she didn't like coming, she would literally stand in front of us, to the side, shielding us with her body. She would sniff wheel wells. Like no regular dog does that. So, we don't really know her full story. Yeah, Climber Spaniels are very. I don't even know how to. I mean, they look almost like Cocker Spaniels with a thyroid condition. I know I'm not going to get another dog. I mean, Lois. Lois is enough work. So I am sticking with Lois, and she is more than I can handle. I don't think I could do another dog at the moment. I mean, Lois probably would like another dog. She's very good with other dogs. She loves cats, but I get overwhelmed easily, so I can't do a second dog. Yeah, what are you, animal hater? Easy. He always likes to talk about the size of my dick. Kind of look like if Bob Levy was a dog breed. I don't know how Bob feels about that, but they look like those. What was it? In Empire Strikes Back. Clemmers looks like those machines that invaded the Hoth system. And apparently they're very slow and very low energy. So that's perfect for me. But they look like they probably have big doo-doos. And I got carpet upstairs. Annie one time, and I wasn't mad at her. I mean, I might have raised my voice to her. She took a huge dump once in the bedroom, and it was a lot to clean up. And I didn't even clean it up. If you know what I'm saying. Someone else did. That's another thing. Like, Lois from time to time will make a boo-boo downstairs on the hardwood floors. It's not that much. Man, that's a great catch by Ayuk, and he got blasted. Oh, man, carted off, pointing towards his knee. That ain't a good sign. But I wasn't really mad at Annie. I mean, she was not in. She still licks the door. It's the craziest thing. I went to the gym last night before the Comedy Store, and it's really weird. And something has put it in Lois's head that if she licks the door enough, that she's going to be able to tunnel through it. But it's a very heavy door. So has West Coast Hollywood Earl stopped talking? Hollyweird Earl stopped talking politics. I go where the stream takes us, Dominic. What do you want to talk about? Bring it up. We'll talk about it. We talk politics here. We talk AEW wrestling. We talk hockey, football, women from my past. We talk physical fitness. But I am interested in politics. With sex, we can talk sex. I mean, last night I'll tell you a great story. This was one of the what the fuck moments at the Comedy Store. I'm on stage, and I think I did about 45 minutes. But I would say about a half hour in, I do this thing if I see open seats in the front row. I'll say, hey, to anyone of the pores in the back, come up to the front on me. I've always said the pores. MJF stole that from me. And this girl sits in the front, and she's kind of hot. And she gets up, And I'm like, see you later, ma'am. And she's like, no, I'm not leaving. Your dick looks huge and I really want to suck it. I was like, huh? And she's like it was crazy. And she wasn't kidding. Like, I know when someone's doing shtick. And I'm like, well, if you want, you can wait in the back for me. And she's like, okay. Like, she called my bluff. So I hoist her up on stage and she goes in the back. And she was ready to take care of business. But they kicked her out of the green room because she was being too loud. And I never saw her again. It's all good, Dominic. But you got to understand, in the stream where this is a stream, bro, where we do talk rats. I sent Piercy a great picture, a picture I'd never seen before of him, Robin Crosby, Jake E. Lee, Lars Ulrich, and someone else. And it was just an awesome, awesome picture. But I don't, I don't stream snipe people. I don't roast Steel Toe or Stuttering John or whoever. So, this is a live stream, baby doll. Yeah, I should have said, hey, the X3 in the parking lot. Why don't you plant yourself in the passenger seat? Boom, 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 boom. Dylan, I don't know when I'm going on MLC. Who knows? Kevin may have just been fucking around. Because I don't want to talk about the Dabbleverse on there, but it's going to be talked about, so I'm just going to sit there. I kept joking around. I was in the middle of a really long joke when she said that, and I was a little thrown off, to be honest with you. I'm like, hey, guys, this joke just got a lot shorter. Hello! Will they edit out his political tirade? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna. Let's just say I'm not gonna vote for Trump because the Undertaker's voting for him. But listen, if that's who he's voting for, great. I don't stuff. Trust me on that one. Dominant. You can ask any girl from my past. Ain't no stuffing going on down there. No Gutfeld update. I know the wheels have been put into place. Now, I'm assuming the next 2 weeks, because of the election, they are booked with people far out in advance. But I would hope I would be on it before the year is up. 100%. I follow where the Ultimate Warrior goes. The Ultimate Warrior, querying doesn't make the world go round. He kept it real. But hey, listen, if you vote who you vote for, I welcome you in the Earlverse. Yes, we will be doing an election night stream. I don't know when it's going to start. I can't do what Melton and Win by Two. I can't do 5-hour streams, so I'm going to pick an hour or two. I would probably say maybe around 8 p.m. my time. That's a little late for you kids on the East Coast, but I think that, the election won't be over till well past. No one's sleeping on that night. This might be the most consequential election of my lifetime. I would say that I probably have more Trump voters than are more Republicans than Democrats. I don't. Let's be honest. There's 21 people in here right now. I don't think there's one girl, and I think women, not all. Yeah, you can't generalize, but most women, I think, are Democratic. Especially this year with a black female running, I think people are just going to root for her just because she's a woman. So I would bet, like in this stream right now, I would guess 100% are Trump voters. Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of color in the Earlverse. I don't care what anyone. I don't care if you're gay, straight, black, white, Mexican, whatever you are. This is just a stream of silliness. Yeah, I mean, Ozzy, he looked rough in the early 2000s when I was, dating Shelly from Motorhead, and we went to his daughter. I think her name's Amy. It was her 18th birthday. It was at a really nice house in Malibu. Probably spent $100,000 on the fireworks display. And Ozzy came down the stairs when I was in the kitchen, and he looked rough. And this is maybe 2002, and he was shaking, and he just goes in the refrigerator, takes like 6 Pepsis or Cokes, I forget what it was, and just looks at me, and he's literally like, "Hey, mate." Clip that impression. Earl, can we get all new candidates like tossing the letters back in Scrabble? Probably not, Delusional. It's a little late. I don't think you get a third party candidate in there. Or you could just all vote for my nephew or my cousin, RFK Jr. But he's not on the ballot in half the states. That's great. I like ELO's hits. Do you want my love, woman? Do you want my face? I'm saying that's Ace Frehley did a cover of that song Do Ya. I like Don't Bring Me Down. Don't bring me down. Bruce. Don't bring me down. And what's that one song ELO has? That's a tongue twister. A whamma lamma ding dong. A rock and roll is king. Oh, let the jukebox play. Play for me. Play for me. A whamma lamma ding dong. Rock and roll is king. But I'm not familiar with their B-sides, to be honest with you. I'm voting Tommy Morris, Dean Gilbert, Staggy. Anything's possible. Well, I'm a Traveling Wilburys fan as well. I always felt sorry for the drummer. I often made a joke when I was on a star-studded lineup that I felt like the drummer in the Traveling Wilburys. I mean, that guy. I think his name was Jim something. Was like an elite level drummer. If you're asked to be the drummer in a band with Tom Petty, Roy Orbison, not Ringo Starr, George Harrison, and Jeff Lynne, well, I mean, that is a super group. Although I'm partial to Contraband, the first 80s metal super group where you had, excuse me, you had the great Richard Black, singer of Shark Island, Bobby Blotzer, the drummer from Rats, Shar Peterson from Vixen on bass, and the dueling guitar attack of Tracy Guns and Michael Schenker. I like Damn Yankees hits. Really, I really only like Can You Take Me Higher? Can you fly me over yesterday? I don't want to hear about it anymore. Yesterday is just a memory, and we know for sure I just made one mistake. I didn't know what to say when you call me baby. Don't say goodbye. Say you're gonna stay forever. Thank you very much. How many people could sing a damn Yankee song off the hop? Was the firm 80s metal? I think Contraband was the first really 80s metal super group. Although you might say Bad English was with Dean Castronova from Journey on drums, Neil Sean on guitar. I think Ricky Phillips on bass, and John Waite on the vocals. Um, well, I think I mean Richard Black. Richard Black is a great frontman. 5 more minutes, kids. 5 more minutes. But Contraband, I think they played only a handful of shows together. It's one of my favorite '80s metal shirts. Is some show? It was Rat with like Contraband and Kicks. Uh, but I don't. I think Richard Black. There's a lot of personalities in that band. I mean, Bobby Blotzer's a maniac. Richard Black's a maniac. Michael Schenker's known to be, a bit of a thorn. And Tracy Guns is a great guy. I've met him a few times at the Rainbow, so he was probably just there for the paycheck. And the broad from Nixon probably was like, "Yeah, I'll do it. Fuck it." If they're really good, can they pick a box off the shelf? I don't know what you're talking about. I popped with NASCAR. I like that song, Dreams. The only people that can sing Damn Yankees off the top of their head are pedophiles and the daddy man. Fuck yeah. And I am the daddy man. I mean, I just have a knowledge of 80s lyrics. I wasn't really a huge Runaways fan. I became a fan of theirs because Sunday nights at the gig on Melrose, I used to see the show Glam Nation. It was in Glam Nation. Eric Dover from Alice Cooper and Slash's band. I thought that guy'd be a star. He just had that it factor. Ryan Roxy from Alice Cooper's band. Eric Meinsinger from Kiss and Alice Cooper. Teddy Zigzag on keyboards from Guns N' Roses. And Derek Sherinian on keyboards from Dream Theater and Billy Idol. And the great Stepan Adika on bass. And they would do 70s cover songs. And it was awesome. Lovers, if exceptional, can they get prizes from the shelves? I mean, yeah. I mean, they can, but they better come, baby. Night Rangers, and Jeff Watson and Brad Gillis were a great twin guitar attack. Kelly Keege's, I don't know if I would say he's a great drummer, but like he's a great drummer for Night Ranger. Jack Blades, great singer. I don't know who the bass player was, and the keyboard player. I mean, he was a bit of a wing nut, but he was a good keyboard player. I mean, the keyboards were big in like the mid '80s. Keyboards were prevalent even on metal albums. So I don't know the keyboard player from Night Ranger's name. Of course, I would be scared if I did. I like the keyboard player from Pat Benatar's band. I think something McDonald, and he's now Charlie McDonald, maybe. He's now the keyboard player in the E Street Band. So I was just listening to Springsteen's song, The Promised Land. Well, the dogs on these streets growl because they don't understand. If I could take one moment into my hand. Sir, I ain't a boy. No, I'm a man. And I believe in a promised land. I've done my best way to live the right way. I get up every morning, go to work each day. But your eyes go blind, your blood runs cold. Sometimes you feel so weak, you just want to explode, and tear this whole town apart. And I checked out. I love I like Springsteen, like in his prime. I mean, I like Tunnel of Love. That's a great breakup album. That's right when he was going through the divorce. And you could tell each song was about that bitch. Believe me, I could come up with my own Tunnel of Love comedy album. But there's some really good B-side type songs on Tunnel of Love. Is That one song. I got $1 in my pocket. There ain't a cloud up above. I got a picture in a locket that says, baby, I love you. Well, if you didn't look then, boys, then fellas, don't go looking now. But here she comes a walking, all that heaven will allow. Rain and storm and dark skies. Hell, now they don't mean a thing. If you got a girl that loves you and wants to wear your ring. So come on, Mr. Trouble. We'll make it through somehow. We'll fill this house with all the love, all that heaven will allow. Now some may want to die young, man, young gloriously. Get it straight now, mister. Hey, buddy, that ain't me. 'Cause I got something on my mind, babe, that sets me straight and walking proud. And I want all the time, all that heaven will allow. I mean, that's pretty good off of memory. And Tougher Than the Rest. I love Tougher Than the Rest. Well, I just love that whole album because it's clearly every song is about the girl he's about to divorce. I mean, Brilliant Disguise. If you listen to that song, if you really listen to the words, that girl fucked him over. Was I'm trying to think of some of the lyrics from Brilliant. We stood at the altar. The gypsy swore our future was bright. But from the wee hours, maybe, baby, the gypsy lied. I mean, yikes. Very poetic. Um, no, I think it was that girl, Juliana Phillips or something. Uh-oh, hold on. It's 5:02. Let me see when the Kings are starting. All right. And then what's another one on? There's another song I really loved on All That Heaven Will Allow. Trying to think. Times are tough, baby. Times are tough. So you say, sorry, Johnny, I'm gone, gone, gone. You said my act was funny, but we both knew what was missing, honey. So you lit out on your own. Now that pretty form that you got, baby, we'll make sure you get along. You're gonna find out someday, honey, when you're alone, you're alone. When you're alone, you're alone. When you're alone, you ain't nothing but alone. Now I was young, free on the main streets of the city. I fought to make 'em my own. With just shirt on my back, I left and swore I'd never look back. And man, I was gone, gone, gone. But there's things that'll knock you down you don't even see coming and send you crawling like a baby back home. You're gonna find out that they sugar. When you're alone, you're alone. Now this is the part that really gets me going. Now I knew someday you'd look back on me and our love would be strong. I'd think only of all the laughs that we had, and you won't come home now. Ain't hard feelings of nothing, sugar. That ain't what's got me singing this song. It's just nobody knows, honey, where love goes but when it's gone, it's gone. I mean, those are just haunting lyrics. So I kind of checked out a Springsteen after Tunnel of Love, because then he kind of got rid of the E Street Band and he went more the folk route, and that's fine. You know, it's his fucking life, but it's my money, honey. I got a good voice, man. If it's in the right vocal range. I mean, my karaoke song is Thunder Road. I fucking kill it. That's funny. So I'll leave you guys with a little Thunder Road. Me, 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 me. Hit the like button on your way out. Screen door slams. Mary's dress slays. Like a vision, she dances across the floor as the radio plays. Roy Orbison singing for the lonely. Hey, that's me and I want you only. Don't turn me home again. I just can't face myself alone again. Don't run back inside, darling. You know just what I'm here for. So you're scared and you're thinking that maybe we ain't that young anymore. Well, show a little faith and magic in the night. You ain't a beauty, but hey, you're all right. Oh, and that's all right with me. You can hide from the cover and study the rain. And I got to be honest with you, I forget the rest, but throwing roses in the rain. All right, I think the Kings and Ducks are about to start. So, you know, how many other people in the stream can sing at my vocal quality? I'm the new Frank Stallone, bitch. Well, it's Saturday night. You're all dressed up in blue. Well, I don't know, babe. Maybe you've been around too. Well, there's another dance, honey. All you gotta do is say yes. And if you're rough enough for love, honey, I'm tougher than the rest. Yeah, the road is dark, and it's a thin, thin line. But I want you to know I'll walk it for you anytime. Maybe your other boyfriends couldn't pass the test. But if you're rough and ready for love, honey, I'm tougher than the rest. By the way, my favorite, I am a man. But now I can't sing high vocal songs. I mean, the Click Five's an exception. But all right, guys, this has been Earl. Let me thank the tipper tonight. I know we had one back in the early era of the show. Thank you, Queen On, very much. I'm off to the world of the Kings and the Ducks. Quack, quack. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Jets. I love you all. We'll probably do a stream tomorrow night around, I don't know, whenever I want to. And hopefully you guys are on board. Thank you, William Zoom, for moderating. Earl Skakel, over and out.